Today is a big news day in the world of Magic the Gathering. From Wizards of the Coast deciding to come out and drastically slash the prize support for the upcoming Worlds tournament, to the massive price crash that we have seen in Modern Horizons 2 card prices, there's a lot going on. And additionally, there's also an interesting anomaly in regards to the Grand Phyrexian update to talk about.
Magic. History.
I'm an old wizard!
The Magic Historian.
My bones hurt. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope you are having an excellent day. We are here today for another installment of Mega Magic and News. We have 3 points of news to talk about. The first involves Worlds, the second involves Modern Horizons 2 singles, and the third involves the Grand Phyrexian update. Now, admittedly, the first two are bigger news items, and the third one is more of a curiosity, so we'll cover that last. And in the meantime, my friend the Consecrated Sphinx can hang out with all of us, and you can behold just his gross, horrible body, all right? So, let us dive into the first news item we have, which is the World's prize pool. So, as I said, Wizards of the Coast has made the decision to drastically cut the prize pool for the upcoming Worlds event. And it's making a number of people unhappy, especially people who are specifically slated to play in the event. And it's easy to understand why they're frustrated, because this is a massive cut to the prize pool. The initial prize pool was slated to be $1 million. I just felt like saying it like an evil villain. So $1 million. Now we've seen a 75% reduction in that. $750,000 got Thanos snapped out of the prize pool and bloomed right into Wizards of the Coast's pocket, right? So they get to keep that money now, which it's probably going to make some executive at the company look good, because it's like, woo, look at how much higher our profits are since we didn't have to spend $750,000 on this prize pool, right? There's the silver lining for like one dude at Wizards who's like, yeah, I look good on my job. All these people who are supposed to play in the event are like, bro. Really? You're going to take 75% of our prize pool? That's nuts. So the frustration is totally understandable. And it really does seem like we are traveling down this path where pro players and the pro scene is becoming less and less relevant. Now, originally, you could certainly argue in the past and say, you know what? I feel like the pro circuit really brings something to the table for Magic and really helps to bring people in. It works as an advertising mechanism, but the truth is, it had its legs cut out a long time ago. Wizards of the Coast has slowly but surely been pulling focus from the Pro Tour. They took things away from the Pro Tour more and more, diminished it, and that just kind of progressed with less people being interested in it, less people showing interest in it, right? If you don't make a big fanfare about it and act like it's a big deal, then why are people going to treat it like it's a big deal? So more and more we move down this road. Wizards of the Coast looked at it and they were like, well, the Pro Tour doesn't seem to be doing much for us. Why don't we go digital with it? And they went digital with it and did the whole MPL Rivals League. And then they said, you know what? This isn't working. Why don't we just go ahead and kind of shove this off to the side? And their new focus is going to be on creating more casual level events where, yes, you go and compete with other people, but the prize structure's more flattened. And if you don't know what that means, there's different kinds of prize structures where you have ones where you have a few huge prizes for the best people, or you have more prizes that are worth less but spread out across more people. And that seems to be the way that Wizards of the Coast is going moving into the future. They've stated that that is the path that they want to take. So it doesn't really surprise me to see that at the last minute they're kind of pulling the rug out and going, I know we said you guys were going to play for $1 million, but we decided that it's not worth actually putting the money in, and the ill will that this may create towards the players involved, well, we're done with you. Do you know what I mean? The people who are playing in Worlds are people like MPL and Rivals players, but Wizards has said that the MPL and Rivals aren't really a thing that matter anymore. Sure, they're going to go on for a while, but we all see the writing on the wall. Wizards of the Coast has said, No, it doesn't matter. So they decided keeping $750,000 is going to be better for them than paying it out to these people who ultimately don't matter. The way of the future when it comes to Magic the Gathering and like the events physically will be, hey, come on out and play in these tournaments. It's going to be a Magic Fest kind of vibe. Instead of the old days of the Grand Prix, it's just going to be get together and play. And in terms of digital, I think Wizards is going to drop even more focus on it, because between YouTube, like people like me yammering on about their game, and streamers playing the game, they're already getting the same level of interaction and coverage, or more, than the MPL or rivals were giving them, and at a far reduced cost, right? It's not like the majority of YouTubers and streamers don't get any financial support from Wizards of the Coast. The majority of them don't even get spoiler cards or things like that, right? So this is a zero cost or very little cost thing for Wizards of the Coast, versus these events costing millions of dollars, but from Wizards' perspective, not really bringing in a return on that. And I'll be honest, I can't say for certain exactly how much the Pro Tour and all that plays into the importance of growing Magic and bringing people in. Certainly, it does have an aspirational aspect to it, where people will be like, yo, I would love to be a high-level pro player and like get paid to play the game. But Wizards of the Coast has specifically stated that they're not going to be doing prizes on the level that support people basically being able to be pro Magic players as a job. And if you can't be a pro Magic player as a job, are there any real pro Magic players? I mean, yes, you can win money here or there, but if it's not enough to support you, is that really like professional level? I mean, that may be semantics or whatever, but I can feel the frustration from the people who are genuine pro players, and also the frustration from the people who love that part of Magic, because there are a number of them. It's impossible to know exactly what the breakdown of mega casual to mega competitive is, right? Because a lot of people fall somewhere in between. But Wizards of the Coast clearly operates under the assumption that the majority of Magic players are two categories: tabletop, play whatever you've got, and Commander players. We don't know exactly how it breaks down there out in the world, but that is Wizards of the Coast's current viewpoint, and that's what's going to be driving their decisions. So from the viewpoint of a company that said, we're no longer going to create a financial path for you to have this basically as a job anymore. You've got that, and then you've also got a company that believes that the majority of their customers, and thus the majority of their money sources, are casual or Commander players. Clearly, that's going to be where they turn their focus to. And casual/Commander players aren't as interested in the professional level play. So that's why we're seeing this. Ultimately, I think it would have been a goodwill move on Wizards of the Coast to stick with their word and not pull this, but it totally comes across to me as one of those moves where it's like, we've decided we don't need you anymore, so if you're upset, it doesn't really matter. You can go and complain if you want on social media, but it's not going to change anything because we've already decided we're pretty much done with you, right? So if you want to go and do your own thing, have fun, but we're not going to put any money back in the prize pool. That's how it looks to me. So that's the first news item. Feel free to share your thoughts on that. We're going to move into the second news item, which is the Modern Horizons 2 price crash. Now, whenever a new set comes out, there is always a market dip, right? Without fail. And that makes sense because as Magic players, we are fiends, right? We always want the newest stuff that's coming along. It's all about new, new, new. I know I'm like that. Anytime new cards come along, I'm like, ooh, new cards, let me see, let me have, right? And I feel like there are a lot of Magic players who are like that, or at least the ones that engage online and things like that are the ones who are like, more, 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 right? So what happens is when a new set comes out, everybody knows what they want, and supply is technically at its scarcest because product is just starting to be open. So you have your product pre-release prices where everybody knows the cards they want. A bunch of people go in and pre-order them, and there is some movement of people selling cards at the beginning when they get them. But ultimately what happens is a short time after the actual set gets released, and this used to happen more after after the pre-release and on release weekend, but we have to be real with the scenario. Wizards of the Coast has morphed pre-release weekend into release weekend. I don't care what anybody says. By making product available to be purchased on the pre-release weekend, and not just pre-release kits, but booster boxes. Like, you can get a bunch of stuff on pre-release weekend now, which really just makes it release weekend with a different name. So after a set releases, we always see a price dip. Cards are virtually always at their highest price right at that like fervored kind of pitch moment. Now, over time, cards can go up in value and become worth way more than they were originally, but I'm talking about the short term. So you've got your high prices from your pre-release / release, and then you see a dip somewhat, which is, you know, it differs from set to set, but the prices will invariably go down. But with Modern Horizons 2, it was like, instead of just like it was like, bam, like skyrocketing, rocketing downwards. The opposite of to the moon. To Satan we go is the prices, to the point where I'm hearing it from multiple sources. I actually had the joy of getting to go to an LGS and hang out for a bit today, which is nice. It's been a while since I got to hang out with other Magic players and have a chuckle in real life. So that was cool. But the LGS owner was lamenting about how hard the prices have crashed on Modern Horizons 2, and a number of people are talking about it. And it's interesting to note, right? Because most of the time, like I said, we get these dips. So what's going on with Modern Horizons 2? Well, Modern Horizons 2 had a high level of hype, but it also had a very high price tag. And so basically, the bigger you are, the harder you fall kind of thing. They have more room for market crashing overall, right? Wizards of the Coast can only do so much in terms of keeping the secondary market high, and they can price a product as high as they want, but that doesn't mean that the market is going to meet those prices, essentially. So Modern Horizons 2, because it was so expensive, had even more expensive, more crazy out of control pre-release prices. Like Ragavan, I believe, was at one point sitting at over $100. I could be mistaken, but either way, that's an example of a card that was absolutely like this crazy high price, just unsustainable prices that weren't in line with reality. And so you have this massive market crash, and it might not have like a quick, easy rebound either. It may kind of flatline for a while. I'm not sure. It seems to be behaving differently than a lot of other recent sets, because this is more of a crash than a dip. And this may be a sign that Wizards of the Coast is finding the high watermark for product prices, right? Because that's what they're trying to figure out. Wizards of the Coast doesn't know just how much they can charge for boxes. So they're going to keep making these products like Modern Horizons 2, where they just arbitrarily make the price higher because they can. And it works because there are a number of people who will genuinely defend the prices of these products. So Wizards of the Coast, they know their customer base to a degree. What they don't know is where the upper threshold is. But if they make these expensive sets and we see a trend of prices crashing hard, that will impact set sales overall. If these sets start to get this stigma that at the beginning they're insanely overpriced, then that will cause sales slumps and Wizards will sell less overall, right? People will decide to buy other things. So this might be a sign that we are starting to find the current market ceiling for regular release booster prices, right? The Modern Horizons 2 isn't some special super limited edition set. It is a regular style Magic set that they're going to print a significant amount of, right? I mean, there will be limitations based on the state of the world, but overall, Modern Horizons 2, just like Modern Horizons 1, isn't a mega limited edition like the Mythic editions or things like that. So, it's interesting to note. Speaking of interesting, we're going to talk about the curious anomaly that I mentioned in terms of the Grand Phyrexian update. So, if you don't know what the Grand Phyrexian update is, it's something that's been a long time coming. Magic the Gathering is finally giving Phyrexians their own creature type, which to me is amazing. Father of machines be praised! The Phyrexians will truly be complete, right? So, up until now, Phyrexians have just had other creature types like horror or whatever else that felt like it fit. But Phyrexian was never its own creature type, like elf or goblin or whatever, and that genuinely has always felt like an oversight. So Wizards of the Coast has gone ahead and said we're doing a grand Phyrexian creature update. 250 roughly different cards are all having the Phyrexian creature type added, okay? But this guy isn't. This is the anomaly, and it's very, very confusing. I mean, Consecrated Sphinx is an amazing card. 6 mana for a 4/6 flyer that lets you draw 2 cards whenever your opponent draws a card is bonkers. But we're here to talk about the Phyrexian concept of it. Look at the flavor text. Blessed by the hand of Jin-Gitaxias. That's literally a Phyrexian. I have blessed you. Look at it. It's been corrupted. It is clearly Phyrexian. You can see like one of its arms is all metallic and shriveled up. One of its arms is just this big, crazy wad of flesh with these like what looks like giant thorns sticking out of it. The other arm doesn't match. Like, look at its limbs. Look, this thing is Phyrexian. It literally says it's been blessed by the hands of Jin-Gitaxias. How do you end up with a scenario where you go, nah, he's not Phyrexian? And it's even crazier. On MTGO, they accidentally made him a Phyrexian, and then they went, oops, no, that's an accident. We're going to fix it. And it's like, what? What? Am I losing my mind? This is a Phyrexian. How is this not a Phyrexian? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this and the other news items below. I will link the yesterday's video for the 8 secret layers that we talked about. So if you haven't checked that out, feel free to do so. Thanks for coming by. Big shout out to all my patrons, and I will see you all, my friends, in the next video or in tonight's live stream where we open some mail that I got. Goodbye for now.